AskReddit by the Meat Vegan. Who was the greatest athlete of all time? I don't know much about him, but a lot of people say Jim Thorpe. Highly recommend the book Path Lit by Lightning if you are interested in Jim Thorpe. He dominated the decathlon in 1912 Olympics. He was the most dominant football player for about 20 years, and the first commissioner of what would become the NFL. He was a mediocre baseball player. The dude who lapped me in middle school twice. Destroyed every bit of self-confidence I had. I was the fastest kid in my school. We advanced to some regional and got our $S handed to us. Not even close. That was a humbling day. I learned I better focus on grades. As far as domination of their particular sport, Gretzky? To have your number retired from the entire professional league due to your dominance is a whole other level. Bo Jackson. I'm in my mid-50s. I've watched a hell of a lot of sports in my day and a ton of tremendous athletes. Bo Jackson stands out in my memory. The way he could launch a baseball was absolutely ridiculous. His speed was outrageous and he was fucking huge. Unreal. I'm glad I got to see him a lot. Sisyphus. There's a shot for that. Scott Sterling. The man. The myth. The legend. Jim Thorpe and Bo Jackson have already been mentioned, but I will also throw an argument towards Wilt Chamberlain. In addition to being a great basketball player, he also played volleyball at a professional level and was a great track and field athlete. They had to change the rules multiple times just to try and curb his dominance. For example, in the NCAA NBA, you have to stay behind the line to shoot free throws because Wilt could do a running start and dunk the shot. The NBA also brought in offensive goaltending and made it illegal to inbound the ball over the backboard. Further, he still holds numerous records, scored 100 points in a single game, and was insanely durable. About his durability in the NBA, your team is running you into the ground if you're playing more than 35 minutes a game. Regulation time is 48 minutes. He averaged more than 48 minutes in a season. That record will likely last longer than his 100-point game record. Akuho. He is the most winning Yokozuna in the 2,500-year existence of sumo wrestling. With 52 champion titles, he had a 7-year run where he fought in tournaments every 2 months and secured a first or second place finish in every tournament. I love the fact that Akuho took basically a whole year out because of injury, came back, won the Yusho unbeaten, and then retired. His final match against Haruna Fuji was iconic. Just felt like it was his way of saying I'm the greatest, don't ever forget it. Joey Chestnut. 16-time hot dog champ. American legend. In the last competition, a protester of some kind rushed onto the stage and got to the competitors. Chestnut, with hot dogs stuffed in his face, subdued the person with a headlock and then essentially throws him off stage. After momentarily disrupting Chestnut's rhythm, he continued eating. He still went on to win by eating 13 more hot dogs than second place. The guy who scored 4 touchdowns against 4 Poke High in the championship game. I heard he eventually got into the shoe game. Sir Donald Bradman. I don't think anyone would argue him the best all-around athlete, but he is the statistically greatest at his chosen activity. From his wiki, the statistics show that no other athlete dominates an international sport to the extent that Bradman does cricket. In order to post a similarly dominant career statistic as Bradman, a baseball batter would need a career batting average of .392, while a basketball player would need to score an average of 43.0 points per game over their career. The respective records are .366 and 30.1. Alexander Karelin, a career record of 887 wins and 2 losses, including 6 straight years without a single point scored against him in Greco-Roman wrestling. I don't think anyone else has ever been so utterly dominant in any sport. Excellent answer. One of his losses was quite controversial and technical. The one to Gardner. I can't imagine what he would have done had MMA been around then. Not to mention he looks like the scariest man that ever lived. That being said, given the era and his nationality, he was likely on all the drugs. I'll vote for Usain Bolt. He was the most dominant modern athlete in the most competitive event in the world, and that event rewards pure, refined, hard-won athleticism over almost any other sport. The global talent pool for soccer is immense, and wrestling or cricket or basketball are all big, but everyone sprints and it's an almost incomparable measurement of athleticism. Yeah, he got us on the list of the world's fastest mammal species. Michael Phelps, 28 total Olympic medals, 23 of which are gold. Katie Ledecky is insane on the women's side. She has something like the 27 fastest times on the 800m freestyle and has often won races by such lengths that the second place finish wasn't visible on the TV screen when she finished. George Santos, just ask him. He is actually the inventor of sports. John Belushi, and he owes it to all the little chocolate donuts he had. Little chocolate donuts, the donuts of champions. https://www.youtube.com/watch?CXCUHJX7U7Y. Alexander Karelin. Karelin's competitive record is so ridiculous that it doesn't sound real. I doubt any athlete has ever dominated their sport as much as he did. Bartolo Colon, the end. The absolute unit. Ronnie O'Sullivan. The greatest player ever to play snooker. Most players dwindle with age. Ronnie has gotten better. Let's put it out there for the American, as snooker is obscure to them, and pool is the more popular sport. Ronnie O'Sullivan doesn't even play 9-ball pool and he beat Earl Strickland in the Mosconi Cup. Best athlete ever? Probably not, but greatest athletic feat of all time goes to Alex Honnoldimo. Go stand below El Cap and tell me otherwise. Right? And to do it in under 4 hours. Ali is up there. Managed to shine in one of the hardest eras in professional boxing. Heavyweights moved and fought like the middleweights of today. They fought for 15 rounds. Not 12 or 10. And the fights were a lot more brutal in his era than they are today. Look at his bouts with Joe Frazier. The first 2 fights were 15-round wars, and neither man was the same when they left the ring. In fact, a lot of people say Ali was never the same fighter after his second fight with Frazier due to the sheer amount of damage inflicted on him by Joe. That kind of thing isn't allowed to happen anymore. Nobody's saying Edwin Moses is sad. Perhaps the most dominant stretch for any athlete in any sport. Moses won 122 races in a row in a 10-year period and won a gold medal and set the world record in the event, 400m hurdles, 4 different times. Crazy. My vote goes to Bade Didrikson Zaharias. Didrikson set 4 world records, winning 2 gold medals and 1 silver medal for track and field in the 1932 Los Angeles Olympics. Didrikson is the only track and field athlete, male or female, to win individual Olympic medals in separate running, throwing and jumping events. Then she decided to try pro golf. Zaharias had her greatest year in 1950 when she completed the Grand Slam of the 3 women's majors of the day, the US Open, the title holders championship, and the Women's Western Open, a feat that made her the leader on the money list that year. Also that year, she reached 10 wins faster than any other LPGA golfer, doing so in 1 year and 20 days, a record that still stands. Jesse Owen for busting the black athlete myth right in Hitler's face. My favorite part of that story is how Hitler was trying to prop as long as the greatest athlete and make some huge rivalry between him and Owens, and in response Lars Long and Jesse Owens became besties. Macho Man Randy Savage. The cream rises to the top. Oh yeah.